here we're back in Germany and we've come for some more wild boar hunting. Now I'm in the Müller Schießzentrum in Ulm with my good friend Frederic Hanner from Sauer. But before we go into the field to start hunting, he's going to show me a little bit more about the technique involved in successful wild boar shooting. So I've got my Sauer 404 Synchro XTC in 308. That's topped with a Hawk Vantage 1-4x24. We're going to be shooting Hornady 150 grain interlocks. So I've got all the gear. It's now really just about where to put it. But wild boar hunting, it's a very technical sport, isn't it? It's not just about shooting the pigs. There's a technique that you need to go through to be really effective.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the techniques makes it so much easier to actually hit them where you want to hit them, because if you don't hit them where you want to hit them, it becomes frustrating and you have wounded animals. So with a wild boar, you have different kind of points where you can hit them, so they go down very fast. Of course, the obvious place is kind of from here to here, right in the nervous system, brain, or neck shot. That's the typical wild boar fever rolled forward when they just collapse right there.
Up and they just roll over.
Exactly. Yeah. However, that is very, very difficult when the wild boar is running at full whack. So as with any animal, all this area here is your deadly zone. I always say per 10 meters of distance that you're shooting at, you roughly give it 10 centimeters of lead. So depending on how far they are away from you and how fast they're running, you of course need to have your aim sometimes well in front of the boar to actually hit them here.
Shoot where it's going, not where it is.
Exactly, like with the pheasant shooting in the UK. Then what I always say to starters, or how I teach driven boar shooting, is actually first step is on a static target, like this big old Kyler that we have standing here. What I tell people and what we will do in the shooting cinema in a moment is actually start aiming while you're swinging the rifle up and you're in the middle, you pull the shot. And what that actually does, that swing actually stabilizes your line. And therefore you don't have any wobble to the right or the left, and you're always in one straight line and you just pull the trigger whenever you want to shoot it.
Makes sense, yeah.
The next point then is, with the running boar, I always mount up on the haunch, go up, and then you have an even curve that goes into a straight line. And then you swing through, and when you're at your point of aim, then that's when you want to let the shot go.
And that's to encourage a nice smooth swing, and also to stop you from stopping the rifle.
Stopping the rifle and just any movement that you don't want, because that swing just stabilizes everything. Your body, the rifle, as long as there's movement, it just stabilizes your whole swing, and that's what you want. It's all about straight lines and getting on the boar as best as you can.
So it sounds quite simple. So now we're going to go into the shooting cinema and hopefully we're going to put it into practice. So here we are, we're in the shooting cinema, and it's a pretty impressive facility, 50 meters shooting cinema. So is this the ideal range for shooting, the ideal distances?
It depends a bit. I mean, the further you can go back, the better it is for your training, because the thing is, although you might see the boar 50 meters away from where they filmed it, it doesn't mean that your lead is 50 meters. So the further you can go back, even up to 100, which they can do it's amazing, because then you really have your real life lead there, and you can really train the real thing.
But this is what I have to start with, and as you can see there's a static target behind us. So we're going to start off with coming up
the static target, just as I said upstairs, we'll do the moving barrel thing first now. So swing through on the front leg, and when you're in the middle of the body, try to squeeze the trigger. And of course, as always, try to have as small of a grouping as possible.
Right, well,
so
let's give it a
go. Let's go and have a play.
First 3 shots, and that seemed to go pretty well.
Perfect. I mean, look at that, about 2-inch group, freehand with a moving barrel. That's as perfect as it gets, really. That's all I wanted to see, really.
So once you know we can group in the same place using a moving barrel,
exactly.
What's the next step from here?
So the next step, actually, and that's amazing here in the Müller Schießzentrum, they've got like animated flying air balloons that just go straight up. So they're actually, you have the straight line again, but on a moving target. So that's what we're doing next.
Perfect.
It'll be animated air balloons going bottom to top, and let's see how you do there.
And you never know, we might see some air balloons tomorrow if he's got this set up properly. But let's have a look at that then.
Let's go.
Frederic, how do we do on the balloons then?
I think very well. I mean, most of them popped. You missed one in the first round. That's completely normal. No, very happy to see that. And I think now that you're really comfortable with that moving barrel and you understand the principle of it, I think we're ready for shooting at a boar. So we'll start with a slower one, just so again the line is going kind of sideways now, not bottom to top anymore. But so you get used to that. We'll have a slow boar now to start off with, and let's see how you get on with that.
So pull up from the back, through,
exactly,
and then out.
Up on the haunches, try to get a nice even curve, and then from the kidneys forward, so to say, it's all a straight line, and you kind of want to be on eye level, rather a bit high than too low. I always say rather the back than the leg, because when you're through the back, you drop it instantly, and with a leg shot, it runs forever. So let's see how you get on.
Let's see if we can hit it straight on. So there we have it. As you add in a bit more movement, a bit more change of pace, things start to get a little bit more difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw it in the beginning. Your lead wasn't correct. That's normal. That's something you adjust to. But what I saw in the beginning, with the first couple of shots, you were also all over the boar height-wise. And as you shot on, that's what got much, much better. And what's really the most important thing, the up and down movement came to about 15 centimeters, if at all, and that's what you want to see. Even if your lead's wrong or something, that can always happen. That's something you practice for, but you need to get into that straight line that you're not all over, up
straight
and down.
Back and then through.
Exactly, and that's what you did perfect now in the end. The difference was minimal, and keep on going like that. Try another couple of shots, and then we'll try something a bit faster.
A little bit faster. Okay, well, let's keep going. That was a little cruel there, because you kind of picked up the pace pretty quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, but that was the real driven hunt scenario of wild boar. You have a group coming fast, different sized animals. You did the exact right thing. You went for the Frischling that was not covered by anything else. I told you then after a couple of that you take the Überläuferkeile in the end. And I mean, look at you. You shot those fast ones much better than you shot the slow ones. So very well done. Makes me excited for tomorrow and do the same thing, hopefully.
But it is interesting. It's just trying to get that kind of movement in there, you know, going through, come up and then through, up and then through. And actually, as the animal's going faster, you lean a little bit further into the shot. There's a little bit more dynamism in your swing. You get in front of the animal, and then you actually use the speed of the animal as a reference point. So as soon as you come off the front end of it, that's the time you squeeze the trigger.
And it's just the dynamics. It just keeps your barrel straight, it keeps it swinging, and then it's a bit of intuition as well as with the shotgun shooting. So, but brilliantly done.
Good.
Let's have another round and practice a bit more.
From there, okay. So far, so good. have it. It was a great session, but towards the end there, that got a bit tricky. Animals coming in faster, accelerating, going downhill, and I was all over the place.
The downhill thing, that's what really makes it difficult. I mean, downhill, you're losing your straight line. You need to think in angles all of a sudden, and that's the creme de la creme of driven boar shooting, I'd say. The running down wild boar on a hill is the most difficult target there is in driven wild boar shooting. Running uphill is not so difficult because they tend to be slower, but when they're full wake running downhill, you need to be well in front of them and below them. So you really need to think in all the dimensions of the boar running. But I mean, towards the end, you got on them and
started to connect with them, but you know,
that's fine.
It was a kind of a slow start, move through, and actually, I tend to, certainly when I'm shooting pheasants with a shotgun, I'll push through with my left arm. But you said actually pulling through with your right arm is more stable.
So absolutely, I always say 80% from your steering, so to say, come out of your right hand, and that is just because you're locked in with the gun in your shoulder and close to your face, so you're just more stable again with the straight line. And the left arm is really just there to stabilize the gun a bit, but really the steering out of your right hand.
Yeah, very interesting, because obviously that means that even though it's a moving target, I've got to just adjust my technique a little bit.
Absolutely.
But all in all, it's been a fascinating training plan. It's given me a lot more confidence, certainly helping me with a bit of technique. You know, that mount in, up through the animal, and then mount in, up through the animal in a straight line. I've just got to work on that downhill bit. So I'm hoping tomorrow, when I get into a high seat, I'm not in an elevated position with pigs running down from the left to the right in front of me. Because
I mean,
that would be very cool.
I'm sure you'll do well, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 days of driven boar shooting.
Yeah, me too. So I want to say thank you very much to Frederic for his time, patience, and passing on some of his knowledge. And also the guys here at the Müller Schießzentrum in Ulm, which is a fabulous facility. If you are in this neck of the woods, definitely coming in. Not just a shooting cinema, but also the store upstairs. They've got loads of deer hunter stuff. They've got loads of hawk optics. They've got horny ammo. So everything that I need and use is here. It's like a little kiddies toy shop. So once again, brother, really appreciate it. Thanks for what you
Well done. And let's
bring on the pigs.
Let's do the real thing tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.